everybody. Hi, welcome. We're dialing in from CES. I'm Jyoti Balani, founder and managing director of Freshriver.ai. We do conversational AI and data science consultancy for the Fortune 100 enterprises. And I'm joined here today. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Zhang. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of PolyAI. We're a London-based company, and we build voice assistants for customer service for some of the world's best-known brands.
How are you finding CES so far?
A lot of energy. Good to see a lot of people back. A lot of exciting ideas.
So overall, the industry has progressed the last, I think, even 6 to 9 months. Like, what are you seeing?
Yeah, so I think that we see more and more enterprises willing to adopt and experiment with AI, particularly in a customer-facing environment, right? I think the labor shortage coming out of the pandemic has really driven a lot of those transformational efforts, and I think the technology has really caught up, right? The excitement over just in the last 9 months of DALL-E, Stable Diffusion, ChatGPT is driving a lot of excitement in generative AI in our space.
Anything on the recession? Are you seeing a slowdown, acceleration? What are you guys looking at with the case?
So what we do is that we build voice assistants to augment the capabilities of customer service call centers, and in normal times, I think it could be used to enhance the level of service or to reduce tasks, right? So in that respect, we are fairly recession agnostic, and I think a lot of people are looking at being able to provide a better level of service at a lower cost.
So I think it was Frontier Airlines that came out with their announcement that said they're going to shut down all their human contact centers and go 100% into chatbots. Are you seeing that kind of drastic steps with your clients?
I certainly, coming from we're based in London, and coming from Europe, there's certainly a lot of low-cost airlines that have taken that tact. But we also know that there are low-cost airlines that have gotten rid of the phone channel, but now have RFPs on the market for voice, right? And that is because a lot of companies have put a ton of investment into self-service in the last 10, 15 years, right? Almost everyone's website is better. There's a ton of FAQs, forms. The app is better, but only 9%, and according to Gartner, only 9% of customers use self-service, right? Whereas 71% of all customer service interactions still happen over the phone, right? And so I think there's a discovery problem, right? And people are willing to use some of those services, but they can't find them, right? How do I fill out that form? So they pick up the phone and they call. So we see a lot of our clients using PolyAI voice bots to create a bridge between self-service and the voice channel, right? So that when they call, we say, "How can I help?" They explain their issue, and we point them to the right self-service channel.
Right. Any difference in geography, like for example, between UK, Europe, and US as the behavior of clients to adopt this technology? Any differences?
So I think that the last generation of voice automation existed in much higher numbers in North America, in a North American context, right? So it means that because those technologies weren't very good, weren't very conversational, I think people are actually a little bit more hesitant. Customers are a little bit hesitant to really have full conversations with those voice bots. Whereas in Europe, they're very, very willing, because it's almost like this is the first time they've ever heard it bot, and so they speak in full sentences. And as you know, if they speak in full sentences, you actually get better outcomes.
Correct. Demographically, are you seeing adoption from more of the younger generation, Gen Z, millennials versus older?
That's a really great question. I think obviously voice is a medium that extends across different age demographics, but it's obviously the slightly older demographic, right, who are not as digital native, who tend to call a little bit more. And when they call, they don't speak, or they haven't attuned themselves to speaking in the way that we've attuned ourselves to speaking to Siri, right? Kind of exactly how to phrase a question to Alexa or Siri to get the best result. When you get a slightly older customer, I don't want to make generalizations, but this tends to be true, they will speak to the bot as if they were speaking to another person, right? But actually, the latest AI technology, right? The latest transformer-based sentence encoders, these language models actually handle that just fine, right? Because we're beyond the age of keywords into full sentences, and so we see this technology as being able to enable accessibility for a lot of different services, right? And so voice is going to be a much more equitable channel than just digital technologies.
Absolutely. What about the training models for different languages? Because I think a lot of issues that we're seeing with some platforms, they're depending on Google Translate, for example, which doesn't work all that great from an enterprise standpoint, enterprise grade. It works great from a consumer grade. How are you guys tackling the training of your models for different languages?
So we have a capability of porting bots from one language to another. Part of that tech stack is still translation, but part of it is retraining the model in that natural language. So we have a lot of clients that implemented our bot in one country and are asking us now to implement it in 15 different countries, right? And these are deployments that we've taken on this past year, and we've seen very little degradation in services when we've ported a UK-based English bot to French, to German, to Dutch, Turkish, etc.
Do you have to do any refactoring for security, privacy as you do that for clients?
So if I'm understanding your question correctly, right, so we're based in the UK, which still falls under a GDPR regime. We take this very seriously. The levels of standards of security and customer privacy tend to be a little bit higher than nationally. And, there's some states, like California, that are catching up or even exceeding the European levels, but we work under fairly high standards for global clients.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When you do the best of breed, you can then take it everywhere. What about the ethics? So there's a lot of talk about when there's no human in the loop, the dangers of racism because data is dirty. Do you invest a lot in providing human support to ensure that there's no ethical violations being done by these?
Yes, absolutely. So let me address this in a couple of ways. So in our standard practice, right, you have active technologies that debias the model when it comes for training topics such as nationality, ethnicity, race, gender, etc. Right. So on another hand, I think this is a really interesting facet of the generative AI debate. Right, is that a lot of times what enterprises are looking for, especially in customer-facing technologies, is a deterministic answer, right? That there is the right answer. What time is the pool open? Do you have wheelchair access, right? And whereas generative AI is actually very good at generating kind of a mimetic reality, right? So it is something that is very similar to reality, but it is entirely generated. And so the interesting question is that how are enterprises that where their brand depends on delivering dependable and repeatable experiences to their customers going to handle this technology where the output is uncertain, right? And so I think that these new technologies will make its way, right, and will disrupt and will make a huge difference. But the road ahead is pretty long, and especially because of those kind of ethical considerations.
What about the government sector? Has the government started to adopt some of these technologies, or they're still sort of wait and watch, or what are you seeing there?
So in the UK, we work with the Passport Office. We work with the part of we work with the National Savings and Investment Bank, which sells premium bonds, right? I think there is a tremendous amount of call volume that comes into the government
Yep.
sector,
Yep.
and I think that well, it's just very difficult to provide a level of service, right? And their accessibility is even more important.
That's right.
And so the best of breed AI technologies, which I think PolyAI is a part of, is able to really talk to every customer, right? So I'll give you an example. So my name is Zhang, and your name is T, right? So if we were to access a technology that needed identification and verification, you need a technology that recognizes names of all origins, right? And a lot of speech recognition-based technologies fail because they will identify my name as some noun that is not my name, right? And so you want to make sure that your technology is inclusive in that way, and you have to deploy special models to be able to capture everyone's names in order to be accessible. And I think as those technologies, those mini component technologies of conversational AI become more mature, like which we're developing, it will make government adoption more
Easier,
easy.
right, right. Fantastic. Yang, thank you so much. It was awesome.
Of course. Thank you very much.